taught personally from an early age, when people show you who they are, believe them, and that actions speak louder than words. Both of those things have stuck with me. Want to show you this little clip from the State of the Union address last night with President Trump and a comment that he made. And I want you to see who stood up and who stayed seated, because once again, when people show you who they are, believe them. So take a look.
Agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Agreed. Pretty much speaks for itself, correct? There's no more words here, but this speaks for itself. President Trump is looking at the Democrats who are all remaining seated, while the Republicans have stood up and are clapping. Here's the thing. Do the Democrats not realize that they have just shown, maybe some Democrats who are on the fence, there's probably some out there who are on the fence of, do we continue to vote blue no matter who, or do we use the brain cells that we still have and make better moral ethic choices and better choices for the citizens of this country and vote red in the next elections, whether it is your midterms, whether it's for president, whatever, just regular elections in general, right? Do you vote red because the Democrats have just shown you, like they literally just showed you, that they do not care about American citizens, not one single bit. They stayed seated. This was a effing power move by the President of the United States. We talk about it all the time. That man is playing like 5D chess, and he just pulled out like the winning game move. Remember back in the day when you played regular checkers and you would find ways to like jump over everything, and you get to the top and you're like, king me, and then you own the whole board because you can go any which way with that double stacked piece? He just basically said king me, which I hear the irony there because no King's Day, remember all that bullshit? Anyway, so when President Trump says, if you believe that, you know, Americans first, stand up and the Democrats remain seated, it shows every single person out there that they are not for the people. They are not for the citizens of the United States. And what is crazy to me here is that it's allowed. I feel like that's the right word I want to use here. The fact that it's allowed, because how is it that they can stay seated, which to me would clearly show some form of, I don't know, not treason, but they're going against their oaths, their duties as members of Congress, when they do not stand and they show you specifically that they are not for the citizens of the United States of America. I saw this post by Smart Money Sports on X, and I just wanted to read it to you guys because I think it's very accurate right now with everything that's going on. And it says here, weirdly, I'll lose followers for this post, but it's my account and I stand for what's right in the simple common sense world, so I don't give a, y'all know the last word. It says, I'm watching the State of the Union address. I watch them all usually, right? The fact that there were some Democrats that chose to not stand for the U.S. men's hockey team who just won a gold medal for your effing country is one of the most pathetic things I have ever watched. Yet you can choose not to clap for President Trump, which is albeit childish, but to look at our hockey team who stands before you and take some weird political stance is effed up. This is a sports account, yes. This isn't about left or right, Democrat or Republican. It's simply about loving your country, My stance would be the same if it were Republicans, FYI. It's just pathetic. And I wanted to bring that to your attention because there are people out there who may go, oh, who cares if the Democrats sat? They don't like President Trump, so of course they're not going to stand. Or they're going to go, who cares if the Republicans clapped? Because of course they're going to, because the Trump's a Republican, whatever. But I feel like you're going to see more people who were, I want to say, upset, pissed off, or eye-opening when Democrats did not stand for anybody who got medals. I don't know, like a 100-year-old veteran, or when they did not applaud or acknowledge the fact that our men's hockey team did something amazing. Now, the women's hockey team also won, but they had a big time difference in between, so they didn't go to the State of the Union address. They had other things going on. The men's hockey team was able to go, which is great. But there are things outside of politics, which I know sounds really weird as we're sitting here talking politics, but there are things outside of politics that can sway the way a person thinks about something, right? For these people, it might not be Republican versus Democrat or Democrat versus Republican or independents or anything like that. It could literally come down to how you treat the men and women who put on uniforms and go and fight for our freedoms. It could be how you treat, I don't know, a child with brain cancer, DJ Daniels, when you don't stand for him last year at the State of the Union address, Democrats, or how you treat just people in general. And I feel like the not standing up for the people who got the medals, won the medals, still works because of the hockey team. I think that has a lot to do with how people feel right now about the Democrats in general, because y'all, it got so much better or worse. I don't really know what the right word there is, because it's better or worse depending on how you want to look at it. But this is the first video that I had saved here to show you guys with President Trump talking about the men's hockey team, because he gave the goalie a Medal of Honor, right? And that's the goalie there. His name is, hold on, let me find his name because I do not remember his name. His name is Connor Hellebuck. I don't know how to say his name. Those are all the Republicans standing. Democrats didn't stand. They stayed seated as he was receiving a Medal of Freedom. And that is going to upset a lot of people who are very, very into sports. You already had the left destroy the Super Bowl with the Bad Bunny just shit show of a halftime, right? And then to have that on top of it. But I think for most people, this is going to be the moment that really sticks out of the Democrats not getting up or acknowledging this man getting his medal. He's 100-year-old. I think it said, which war was it? I don't want to get it wrong at all. Historic moment. President Trump and First Lady Melania just awarded the Medal of Honor to 100-year-old Navy fighter pilot legend Royce Williams. And I remember hearing about how he had, he was like all by himself and he was able to shoot down a bunch of other planes. And there was a lot that had gone on and stuff that has been kept, I guess, secret for a very, very long time about what actually happened during his time in war. And for him to be able to get his medal, I think is absolutely amazing. But the Democrats sat there and acted like it was, a pain or whatever for them to stand up and clap for somebody who fought for their country. And I understand why. It's because the Democrats don't give a shit about this country. They give a shit about the people that they let into this country, which again, they proved by not standing when President Trump said, if you are for American citizens first, over illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, I don't remember which word he used, but stand up, and they refused to stand, which again is very, very telling of where we are in this political circus, because the left has turned it into an actual circus with the way everything is going. So you have them not standing for that, right? But what I think is very, very interesting is somebody says, I wish they weren't being politicized as they were last night. That giving the men's hockey team, the goalie, a medal was politicizing them, which is absolutely retarded. Caroline Leavitt herself said, this is such a dumb take. This team just brought home gold medals for the first time in 46 years, and they were honored by the duly elected president of the United States in front of the entire U.S. Congress. Only people with a loser mentality would think this way. And I agree 100%. Look, this is when the day before President Trump flew them in, I showed you guys that, and he gave them all McDonald's, because we know how much President Trump likes McDonald's. Same thing with Bobby Kennedy over there, which is why they're back to beef tallow for the fries, I believe, instead of whatever seed oils they were using, because Bobby Kennedy put his foot in it. He's like, listen, I want to be able to eat my French fries again. So I'm gonna need you to go back to the way you used to make them McDonald's and go back to the beef tallow, which is phenomenal. Beef tallow is like one of the best things you can cook with. I absolutely love it. But then I saw this other post here from this woman, Congresswoman Kat Cammack. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, Cammack. And it says, tonight I'm sitting among my Democrat colleagues as they choose to sit in protest. I will make a point to applaud and cheer for America's success. America has never been stronger, and then, whatever. But this is her. And the reason I think it's important to bring her up is because people were reposting her because they thought she was a Democrat with her seat. So this is her in one of the posts that was put up. You see, she's sitting there and she's surrounded by Democrats. And somebody had posted, who is this woman in the red dress? Whoever she is, I applaud her for having the courage to stand up in support of her nation and her president, even when the vast majority of her party, the Democrats, refused to. And so she saw that, she reposted it on her X account or page or whatever. She goes, hi, Kat Cammack here, not a Democrat, just a freedom-loving American who will fight every day for our exceptional nation. Let's go. And so in case anybody's curious, she happens to be in the fun state of Florida, where I personally reside. So she is serving Florida District 3, and she is member of the House Commerce, House AG GOP, and she is a chair for the GOP Women's Caucus. For anybody who's interested, she's in Gainesville, Florida, and she's been part of it since 2020. I thought that was great that she got pointed out for being the lady in red who stood up amongst all the Democrats. I feel like the red dress should have been a dead giveaway, which I just thought about, but you guys probably ought to realize that. So on top of all of that, y'all, there was a anti-State of the Union address going on with the lefties over in wherever the hell they chose to, hang out. And you guys have heard of Joy Reid. Everybody knows who Joy Reid is. She is the epitome of angry black woman, which is absolutely ridiculous that she gives that stereotype such footing and backing to it, because she acts like the stereotype that people make fun of all the time, which she could easily not do, but I guess she hasn't figured out how not to. But this is MSNBC anchor Joy Reid attempts to sing a song on stage at the Democrats State of the Union watch party, but no one joins in. They called it the People's State of the Union. And I just want to play it for you for a second, because I do like a good moment of cringy awkwardness, and you can see it on her face as it occurs. And so I feel like we should just watch it together, because it's like a little comedic relief in the middle of everything. So just listen.
Alfred, if you can hear me, so in. Come on.
One person.
Here, keep it going.
Keep it going.
Another person, maybe.
It's all right with me.
What is she doing? Does anybody have any idea what she's doing? That's like when you have nothing to say. You have forgotten everything humanly possible that could be flitting around in your brain. And so you're like, let me just pull out a song from my ass and just start singing it. But then expected after one word for everybody to know what the song was. I mean, I did. I'm not even gonna pretend like I didn't. I did know the song, obviously. But then she's expecting everybody to just jump in and start singing. Honey, you are not in the middle of a nightclub or a bar, and that's not how it works. So she looked really stupid, and it made me very happy, and I wanted to share that with you guys because we like it when Joy Reid looks like Joy Reid, right? I also want to show you this funny video before I get to the real Ilhan Omar moment of the night, which if only I could be at the State of the Union address or any of these things and just be a fly on the wall inside. But I know that I have a tendency, my face will give me away every single time something is happening. And I also have a very hard time of keeping quiet and just sitting there, calmly and docile and whatever else, because that ain't me. But I saw this video and I just have to share it with you guys because it is effing hilarious. So it's not real, obviously. It's a punny thing, but I want you guys to see it because it's still hilarious. Listen.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings us problems right here to the USA. The Somali...
It was that yell at the end, that yell at the end did it for me. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So I wanted to share that with you guys because whoever made that, I don't even know who made it. It was just very, very funny. I would also like to point out that a lot of people did not show up for the State of the Union. AOC, I believe, wasn't there. Nancy Pelosi, I believe, was not there. Hakeem Jeffries decided he couldn't make it. Jasmine Crockett probably couldn't find her left eyelash. She didn't make it. There were a lot of people who didn't show up. Elizabeth Warren did. I don't know if Bernie Sanders did. I don't recall seeing him there. But I thought it was very interesting while they weren't there. Do you guys ever heard of this person named JoJo from Jers? It's some, blonde twit from X that posts all the time. She's a huge Democrat and just tries to crap all over Republicans and conservatives or whatever. Well, I just want to show you guys or read you guys a little bit of irony here. Because on March 1st, 2022, JoJo from Jers wrote or put on X, whatever, a note to the Republicans opting out of attending President Biden's State of the Union address. If you can't be bothered to participate in American democracy here on our own soil, you can't pretend to defend democracy anywhere else in the world. The end. Which is interesting because on February 24th, 2026, JoJo from Jers said, I don't think any Democrat should go to this shit show tonight. I really don't. I'm sorry. So the State of the Union address is only worth going to when it's your president who is at it, but when it's somebody you don't like, it completely changes how you feel. Do you not still feel that if you can't participate in American democracy here on our own soil, you can't pretend to defend democracy anywhere else in the world? Did your views change over the last 3 years, JoJo from Jers? Because it feels like a lot of Democrats are in that same, stupid ass boat. I feel like the boat literally says stupid asses on the side of it as they all sit inside there and wonder who's paddling because they go nowhere. But I just think it's very interesting. The people that didn't show up, I think, are shittier than the people who did show up and refused to stand up for American citizens. The ones who blatantly told their base that they don't actually care about them. They're only using them for votes so that they can then help illegal immigrants. And you have to wonder why they would put non-citizens above citizens every single time. When it turns out non-citizens keep getting all kinds of taxpayer dollars for stuff that, even citizens aren't getting, like free healthcare and free rent and bank cards and food and whatever else. You guys remember all the money that Kathy Hochul gave to New York as governor. She had them in hotels and with bank cards and all this other stuff. And then, Eric Adams is like, we got to quit doing this shit. Like, you're bankrupting the whole city, the state, whatever, and kept doing it. Numerous other places, sanctuary cities doing the same thing. But when they show you who they are, you have to believe them. And Democrats continuously show the citizens of the United States, Democrat, conservative, Republican, independent, liberal, whatever word you want to put on it, they're showing everybody on the political spectrum that Democrats do not care about American citizens at all, whatsoever. The lack of butts leaving the seat when President Trump asked that question, literally they showed you. Believe your own eyes. Don't let a Democrat afterwards try to convince you that that's not what they meant. Your eyes did not deceive you. They did not stand up. They showed you who they were. Now you need to effing believe them, right? So you have all that going on. But on top of it, what I think is very, very interesting, this is the post I was looking for. There's an account on X called Based Bandita, a Spanish female. And it says, if a member of the United States Congress is literally refusing to pledge their allegiance to America and her citizens, how is that not treason, or at the very least disqualification from serving in Congress? Seriously, because that's an act of betrayal, which is 100% accurate. When President Trump asked that question, is it not, he's the president of the effing United States of America. Is it not almost the same as them having to retake their oath? Like that was their moment to solidify that they are in fact for the citizens of the United States of America. And the fact that every single one of them sat down could be a good reason for the Republicans who stood up to now file forms of impeachment, or I don't know if it's just impeachment when it comes to presidents or if you can impeach like Congress people. I don't know the right word here. I am still new to politics. We are learning as we go, ladies and gentlemen. So whatever it is that you can throw at those jackasses over there to try to get them out of their seats, I say go for it. If having signatures from regular ass people like you and I count, then I will sign every single one of them until my hand falls off. Like, I will sit there and sign my name against every single one of them that did not stand and every single one that did not show up, because they clearly do not deserve the seat that they have. That is your taxpayer money, my taxpayer money. They're paying their salary for them to sit there, literally, and let you know they do not give a shit about you. Why is that where my taxpayer dollars are going? We need to put an end to that. So that, I think, needed to be addressed and brought up. Then what's even better is the new Virginia governor, you know, the one who was voted in and then Virginia's governor. So it says, in the official Democratic responses to the president's State of the Union address last night, Virginia's governor said she wanted Americans to ask themselves 3 questions, right? 1, is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? 2, is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? 3, is the president working for you? And this person goes, I am thankful I can answer yes to every single question. Like, it is very obvious that the president is doing an amazing job at keeping us safe. And I don't understand how it's not visible to people. You know what? Let me pull up my email here. We're going to switch gears for a second because I wanted to share something with you. Because the very first thing, obviously, that the good old internet is going to do are these online publications that want to fact check President Trump from his State of the Union address. They want to fact check, right? So I decided to save some of these things that they fact checked, and I wanted to bring them to your attention because these are very important things, right? So during the State of the Union address, if you watched it or didn't watch it, I'm going to break down a couple of things that President Trump said. And one of them was President Trump here. It says that, where is it? He claimed that murder rates saw its largest decline in recorded history last year. Okay, this is President Trump's actual quote. He said last year the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years, which is when they started recording about 125 years ago. And according to this, that is true. It is actually true, which, you know, the left is going to tell you right now it's not. You're going to have Gavin Newsom get up on some stage somewhere and do his little black pastor thing and try to tell you that President Trump lied to you about whatever, which is not true. He is accurate 100%. According to this, the FBI, it won't be released till later this year, but a January study by the Council on Criminal Justice found a strong possibility that the 2025 homicide rate will drop to about 4 per 100,000 residents, which is great, right? Which would be the lowest recorded in law enforcement or public health data dating back to 1900. The homicide rate has been declining over the last, couple of years, but you have to realize why it's lower last year than any other year. Could it be, I'm just spitballing in the wind here, but could it be because President Trump is getting illegal immigrants out of this country? Could it be because ICE agents are rounding up known murderers, known rapists, known thugs, known whatevers, and getting them out of here or putting them in jail or whatever else? If you don't have the criminals roaming the streets, there's a little less chance of things going haywire, right? Because you don't have the murderers just flitting about all over the place like they had been under the Joe Biden administration. So I think that's interesting and needs to be known. And then another one, it says here that, in the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States, which they're saying is partially true. It says Trump claims in the past 9 months, no illegal immigrants have been admitted into the U.S. And then they call him Mr. Trump, which irks the shit out of me every single time. I know that as a publication, once you call him President Trump, technically you don't have to continue saying President Trump, but out of respect for the fact that he is the President of the United States of America, you better put some respect on his name, and call him President Trump, not Mr. Trump. It doesn't sit right with me, and I don't like it, and I feel myself make that face every single time I read it. But anyway, President Trump, I will fix it for them, is likely referring to the number of migrants released by Border Patrol after crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally. So according to this, over the past 9 months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 releases of migrants by Border Patrol along the U.S. southern border. That doesn't necessarily mean every single migrant who has entered the U.S. illegally since President Trump took office has been deported, and then it talks about how they've been arrested and whatever else. But the fact of the matter is, it's true. There haven't been any that have been released into the U.S. Another thing he said was more Americans are working today than any time in our history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today, Americans. And 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector. That part I don't really know about. But the first part they're saying is misleading when he says that we have the more Americans working today than any time in the U.S. history. And they're like, well, yeah, because there's more, people. Every year there's more people. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you're not listening to what he said. More Americans. That is the key word that these people like to overlook. He's not saying that there's just more people working. No, there are more Americans working now than ever before. You know why? Because we're getting people out of the country who are taking jobs from American citizens. So I think that's important to know, FYI. Then there was the one about the gas prices. And they called it false, and it drives me up a wall. So according to this is what President Trump said during the State of the Union address, right? He said, gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, which is Joe Biden. And I would like to tell you guys, we went to California during COVID, and gas was like $9 a gallon. It was hella expensive. So $6 peak isn't right, President Trump. I will let you know it got way more expensive than that in some sectors because Gavin Newsom and the way he runs California blind as humanly possible and put it in his own pocket so he can go buy a new mansion. But it says here, he says, under his predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster. It is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. And they said false. Right? And they said, while prices have dropped from a national peak of $5.02 in June 2022 to $2.95 according to AAA, they are not below $2.30 in most states. Averages. I didn't hear the president say the word average anywhere in the things that he said. I know for a fact that I went to Buc-ee's, the adult version of Disney, if like Disney and Walmart, no. Maybe if Walmart and some random gas station had a baby, or Walmart and like Disney kind of stuff had a baby, it would be Buc-ee's, right? Like that's what it is. So we went to Buc-ee's. It was $1.79 for regular unleaded. $1.79. I thought we ended up at a pump where a screen was broken. I walked all up and down 750 pumps because I swear that place is massive, and double checked. $1.79. $1.79. Right? And then here where I live in Florida, I am in a very touristy spot in Florida where the gas prices are normally, jacked higher than giraffe nuts because they can. And even here, we were paying about $2.20, $2.15, $2.25 for regular unleaded for a very, very long time. So when these people are like, false, the president is false, I'm like, nah, you dipshit. You're just trying to make it seem like he's not accurate. The gas prices are coming down under his watch. Now, maybe not in California, maybe not in Nevada, but blame that one on Gavin Newsom once again. And I will continuously point out Gavin Newsom being, the piece of shit that he is, because if he plans on running in 2028 for the president of the United States, I hope not. People need to know exactly how incredible awful he is up until that point, how he is destroying the state of California completely up until that point. So I will continue to point it out for you. And no, I don't live there. Y'all that live there, you tell me all the times in the comment section what a shithole he's turning it into, where California is generally speaking a beautiful place, unless it happens to be those little blue pockets, because it is predominantly red. Those little blue pockets are just effing it up for everybody else. There's always that one that ruins it for everybody, and California is the one state, and the blue cities are the one. But anyway, so that's that. Let's get back to where we were. There's so much happening. This would have been a fun live stream, man. All right, we'll do that on a different one. Let's get to Ilhan Omar, like for real. You guys ready for this? Because y'all know how much I love Ilhan Omar and her acting or lack thereof ability. Because if you guys remember, like a couple weeks ago, when she had this random town hall that for some reason didn't have any Somali people in it, it was all just a bunch of like paid white actors, it looked like. And there was that one guy up front who clearly looked like he was drunk and something was wrong with him, but somehow he made it through the front door of the town hall, okay, with like a syringe on him. And while Ilhan Omar is talking to the crowd, and she doesn't look at him a single time until she does look at him and then does this little nod to give him the go ahead so he can jump up and spray apple cider vinegar on her shirt. Yeah, okay. While she's calling for I guess impeachment is a thing, of Kristi Noem, I believe. and whatever else. And then instead of being worried about what some stranger just threw all over her shirt, which looked like something she's never worn before, she probably got it from a bin at Goodwill, whatever. She decided to like chase after him and then continue on like the what would be the right word, hero that she is in this town hall, without worrying about what was all over her shirt. Ma'am, I've never seen a bullshit, but I have seen bullshit. So there's that. So Ilhan Omar, President Trump, we know President Trump is the male version of Petty Patty, so I guess he would be Petty Petey. Petty Petey? That sounds, I don't like how that sounds, but we're gonna go with it for now. He had a lot of choice words for Ilhan Omar and her ilk, and a lot of other people during the State of the Union. But I want to play for you exactly what he said about Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, Minneapolis, in like specifically. And I also want to point out that the cameraman, whoever was like lead camera, did a stellar job at this in the State of the Union and definitely deserves a raise. But I want to play for you Ilhan Omar, and I want you to see the look on her face and notice the woman next to her who's like, oh no, and reaches over to like hold her hand to give her moral support. Love it for her, whatever. Absolutely stupid. But listen and watch, and then we're just gonna rip it to shreds, okay?
We'll balance our budget.
Listen.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings us problems right here to the USA.
Not a lie.
And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance.
Okay, but you saw Ilhan Omar's face. She was all, I'm not gonna cry in front of him, that kind of thing, right? She was very like upset about all of it, which, truth hurts, biatch. That's how it works. After that happened, then he went on to go after some other stuff. But I want to show you this little moment here before we get into Ilhan Omar's response to President Trump. Look at this. Watch the Rashida lady's face. Watch. They're chanting USA, and she's chanting KKK. I know y'all saw that. You saw her face. She is going KKK to Ilhan next to her. Those two women are why I feel like women can't be president, because of women like that, because of women like Hillary Clinton, because of women like Kamala Harris and AOC and Elizabeth Warren, the batshit ones, right? Those are the ones that can't be president. The Michelle Obamas, because now somebody's trying to say that they're going to push her up on the ballot, which is why she's been doing all these little runarounds on these interviews and stuff. Excuse me, hiccup, being, fully racist against white people, which I don't see how that's going to help you win anything, honey boo boo. But anyway, so that happens, right? You have Rashida Tlaib, or however the crap you're supposed to say her name. It's missing a letter between the T and the L. I don't know how to say it. Tlaib, I don't know, Talabia, whatever. She clearly was saying KKK, right? Well, Ilhan Omar got in her whittle feelings about it all and decided to post on X, obviously, because that's where everybody goes these days. Side note, you can come follow me over there too if you want. This is what she had to say, because she brought a guest with her. Remember how we talked about the Democrats were going to bring illegal immigrants with them to the State of the Union address and whatever else? Well, a lot of them also said they were going to bring Jeffrey Epstein victims and things and whatnot. Ilhan Omar brought a woman named Aliyah Rahman, and this is what she had to say. She goes, my guest, Aliyah Rahman, stood up silently in the gallery during the president's speech for a short period of time, part of which other guests were also standing. For that, she was forcibly removed, despite warning officers about her injured shoulders, and ultimately charged with unlawful conduct. Reports indicate she was aggressively handled until someone intervened to secure medical attention. She was taken to George Washington University Hospital for treatment and later booked at the United States Capitol Police Headquarters. The heavy-handed response to a peaceful guest sends a chilling message about the state of our democracy. I am calling for a full explanation of why this arrest occurred. So of course, me had to be like, video proof or that shit did not happen, because we know how she likes to lie, and I need real proof, not that staged proof like she did before. And I said, real proof, like the real proof of fraud you signed off on and have been part of in Minneapolis. But this is the woman they're talking about that was escorted out. This doesn't look forcible to me. It doesn't look like anybody's yanking her, pushing her, doing whatever to her. They are both holding her, one on each side, obviously, but they're not just going to take her out because she's standing. Plenty of people are standing. They're saying that she started demonstrating during the State of the Union and refused to obey orders to sit down, and then wonder where she learned that type of behavior, obviously Ilhan Omar. But what's crazy is you have that happen, right? And then according to the, hold on, I saved a bunch of little pieces to go with it. So according to, after that, somebody said here, all State of the Union tickets clearly explain that demonstrating is prohibited. This is according to the Capitol Police. At approximately 10:07 p.m., a person in the House gallery started demonstrating during tonight's State of the Union address. The guest was told to sit down but refused to obey our lawful orders. Guess what happens? FAFO, right? Like, this is how this works. If you are given an order by an officer, or you're told to obey laws or rules or whatever, and you don't, there are consequences for your actions. And for some reason, Democrats feel that they are above said consequences for their actions, but heaven forbid a Republican does the same action, they're going to call for your beheading, right? Like, that is what they do, because rules for thee, but not for me. That's basically their motto. So she's all pissy that her little friend got, taken out of there, as she should have been. But what's even crazier is I saw this, and I thought it was hilarious. It says she hasn't been this mad since her brother forgot their anniversary. Because remember, she was married to her brother, blood brother. Okay, just want to make sure we're all fully aware of exactly how disgusting Ilhan Omar truly is. And I also want to remind people of what Ilhan Omar said. And I've played this for you 14 times. This might be number 15, and there's going to be a 16, 17, 18, 19, because this does not need to be forgotten, because let's not forget, she is married to a white man now, obviously one who was also defrauding Minnesota and numerous other people and is being investigated by the DOJ right now. But we're not talking about him, we're talking about her. But listen.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
She needs to quit calling it our country when she does not put our country first. She did not stand up for American citizens. She kept her, little turbaned ass right down in the seat. She has no place to talk. And you can't marry a white man and then talk about how we need to watch out for white men because they're radicalized and whatever else. Also, let's not forget that white men kind of founded this country, and there's a lot of white men in this country who are not going to agree with you. There's a lot of black men in the country who won't agree with you, Asian men, Hispanic men, whatever men, Indian men who also do not agree with you. She is just as racist as Michelle Obama is, and lets it be shown every single day. But when President Trump stands up and goes, hey, listen, the Somali fraudsters, the pirates, whatever, she makes faces like he has said something racist and whatever else. Oh, honey, do you not like it when the shoe is on the other foot? Does that bother you? Then shut the front door, because I'm not a fan at all. And then I would like to point out Rashida, whatever, this is her, y'all. To the President of the United States of America, this is her. And you want to tell me that the people that are sitting in Congress deserve to be there, every single one of them? I think the hell not. They do not. She is seen wearing an F-ICE pin at the State of the Union. She has released the something files, the Epstein, because she has it blacked out, obviously, because of the redacted parts. And it's like, do you really want them released? Because I'm sure one of your little friends is going to be all up in the files. Are you sure you want them released? The fact that this whole thing has turned into a high school pissing contest. That's what it is. These Democrats are trying to play whose is bigger, but they don't even have one to begin with. They ain't got, you know who does have one though? Hold on. Let me just real quick, let me go to the one who does have one, because I think this is hilarious. 1 second, go nowhere while I find this little clip. Oh, this
Sage
one.
was thrown into an all-boys
Wait,
school
wait, wait.
and suffered terribly for a long time.
Talking about this transgender
But
kid.
today, all of that is behind them
And they
because Sage is a
pan
proud and wonderful young woman with a
to
full ride
Tim
scholarship
McBride.
to Liberty University.
Again, the cameraman. He's talking about the fact that there was this little boy who was little girl who was told that it was a little boy and then sent to all these places for boys and then was like, but I'm not a boy. So now she's back to her original identity because, you know, your DNA doesn't lie. And so this is her, by the way, right there. And so they panned over to Tim McBride, who legally has changed his name to Sarah McBride, but is still a man no matter how you look at it. But again, the cameraman deserves a raise because the way he panned over to Sarah, was absolutely amazing. This guy named Tony Kinnett posted over on X that says, say what you want, but it took balls for Rep. Sarah McBride to stand up when Trump called to ban congressional insider trading. Get it? Balls, Sarah McBride? Because it's really Tim? Yeah, okay, you get it. I didn't need to explain it to you. We're here. And this is the moment he's talking about with the standing up on the insider trading, which again, Petty Petey over here, I want you guys to listen to. I was watching this and I saw Elizabeth Warren and I was like, oh, she's going to come out and pull out her headdress and go full on Pocahontas on us. But she didn't. She actually stood up and clapped. But I want you guys, if you missed it, I'm going to replay it for you now.
Forgotten American workers, great people that built our country. Access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year. As we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
They stand. Here's what's crazy. The Democrats also stood. They also stood. And the president, bless him, he was like, oh, y'all stood for this one. Elizabeth Warren, I expected her to do something. She stood for it. I was not expecting it. But like, look at him, he's like,
they stood up for that. I can't believe it.
But wait,
I can't believe it.
Wait.
Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here?
Doubt it.
Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay.
The fact that he was like, but did Pelosi stand up? No, Pelosi was probably passed out on a floor somewhere with a bottle of vodka in her hand. Probably Kamala Harris, nose to ass the whole way, passed out with her because she wasn't there either. Well, she didn't need to be there. But anyway, I thought that was great, the way he called out Pelosi for that, because she is a super multimillionaire thanks to all of that non-insider trading that she has done since she has been in office. I think like 1842 she got in there. She's been in there for quite a long time. I feel like she was there when they signed the Declaration of Independence, but she's been there for quite a minute. So on top of that, I would like you to see, this is what I was looking for. I couldn't find it a second ago. This is when I realized, this is the exact moment I realized why a woman will never win a vote for presidency. Even whether it's Republican or not, it will not matter. And it's because of women like this. We thought Kamala Harris, was bad enough during her presidential election run, whatever the crap that was. Hillary Clinton with hers. Like we knew that they were really, driving a nail into the coffin of women presidents, right? But these two in this moment right here really sealed the deal for a no female president. So I just want you to see, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Listen.
Not standing up. You should be ashamed of
This is after he asked if you're for the American people.
That's why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities.
And she's yelling at him.
Protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
It's not nice to say, and I've said it a couple times in the past about a couple different people, but those two women have very punchable faces. Very, 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 very. It's not nice, right? You don't want to be part of a violent whatever, but I'd wear all my rings if I ever met them. That is all on that one. All right, so I'm going to give you guys one last thing. There's a lot here. I want to do this one for you because I think it's so funny and so great. We've come up with a name for Democrats, okay? This is it. I'm going to tell it to you. And then I'm going to tell you what the acronym is, because the acronym is where you shorten it, right, to make it easier. Okay. So the new Democrat name is Desperate, Intolerant Liberals Destroying Our Society. Now, if you take the first letter of every single word and put it together, you have dildos, which is what they are. Desperate, D, intolerant, I, liberals, L, destroying, D, our, O, society. Bunch of dildos. You're welcome. And then last but not least, I'm going to end this on a very high note with the last minute of President Trump's speech at the State of the Union, because it needs to be heard by every single American, especially the Democrats. They need to be reminded right now exactly where we are, who we are, where we're going as a country. So just take a listen.
There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim.
Greenland.
For our destiny is written by the hand of Providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Public available documents, historical analysis, and commentary. We respect the official investigations and the families involved. This video is intended for analytical and educational purposes only. So these world leaders are really playing with diseases and they actually changing the weather? Is Bill Gates playing God?
Most of these world leaders are nothing but social engineering. It is playing God. The powers that be who engage in social engineering, because you're removing the natural element of evolution. They use religion, and then you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing the circumstances. Diddy is nothing but a dark skin, because we're living in a society where black people want to be so much like white people. The sun helps maggots, but it kills white, that we take on and adopt the characteristics of white people.
Back in the days, Bill Gates predicted by 2015 we would triple in population growth, and it needs to be reduced by 10 to 15% due to global warming, right? Then in 2020, Bill Gates also said that 7 billion people must be vaccinated. Is Bill Gates playing God?
Absolutely. Bill Gates, he was groomed playing social engineering. It is playing God, because you're removing the natural element of evolution and you're replacing just things that would naturally occur based on just being alive and experiencing things. You're removing that, and then you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing the circumstances. Scientific experimentation, right, is multiplying. It is multiplying something, some virus, some disease. You're multiplying it exponentially for the purpose of subtracting human beings from this earth, for the purpose of giving the people who are on this planet more access. You're multiplying the negative, right? You're multiplying the negative to create a virus. That virus is going to minus.
Man, fuck all that. Ain't that mass murder?
It is.
If you could prove it?
It is mass murder. It is murder on a mass scale. However, those things are necessary to control the human population. Those things happen all over the planet. They've been happening on this planet since we've been here.
So these world leaders are really playing with diseases and they actually changing the weather?
So listen, when we say world leaders, right? Don't give the actual leadership too much credit, because most of these world leaders are nothing but puppets who are put in place. Or, listen, world leaders are chosen by the people. The world leaders who are chosen by people, right? Those people are influenced by something about that person, or about that person's ideology, or about their political affiliation. So you add, subtract, multiply, and divide different circumstances in that person's life to make that person appear to be more fair seeming in the eyes of the general public, and thereby you elevate that person's status or stature in the eyes of the general public, and that does what? It inspires people to vote for a savior. So we live in a world.
They created the problem.
Yes.
Damn,
You're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. I talk about the black church in my book, right? I'm talking about social engineering here. In my book, I talk about how in the black community, almost on every corner, you have what? A church and a liquor store. Did you read my book, bro? Because you just repeat what I said.
I'm
right?
this. Yeah.
You have a church and a liquor store in the ghetto, in the urban environment. Seemingly on every corner or every other corner, let's give them some grace. On every corner or every other corner, there's a church and a liquor store. Let me give you an example. In the city of Detroit alone, which is where I'm from, there are over 3,000 registered churches that are predominantly black or led by black ministers, pastors, bishops, and the like, right?
Right.
There are more registered, I'm talking about from the little small mom and pop storefront churches to the mega churches that hold 40, 50,000 people. Let me help you here. So, in the face of a city like Detroit, whose population has dwindled from over 1 million 30 years ago to approximately 700,000 right now, we have more churches in the city of Detroit now, registered churches, than we've ever had in the history of the city of Detroit. But the condition of the population, the condition of the citizens of Detroit is worse now than it's ever been. So answer me this one question. How can, in the face of having all these quasi or pseudo-religious people, how can we have more church and more religious people, but the condition of the people in the city is worse now than ever? Social engineering. Religion is an opioid. Religion is a drug. And then the people, the powers that be who engage in social engineering, they use religion to add, subtract, multiply, and to divide the human population. You don't believe me? We have black people who came over to this country as slaves, right? 400 years ago. Not even 200 years ago, we were in slavery, right? Or something that looked like slavery.
Right.
200 years ago was what? I'm losing my thought process. What was it?
You said slavery?
It's 2026 right now.
Oh, you're talking about the years.
Yeah. 200 years ago was 1826. We were slaves. That's not a long time ago. 200 years ago, it's 2026. 1826. So when we think about it now, 200 years don't seem like that much time, do it?
Nah, hell no.
Don't seem like that much time. That's your great-great-great-grandparents, right? So listen, if you think about Willie Lynch, the person who designed the actual plan to take black people from actual being physically enslaved to psychological enslavement. The Willie Lynch in the Willie Lynch letter, he said that in the South, right? Most people don't understand this. The reason why, like during the coming out of the Reconstruction period and going into the whole civil rights movement in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, white people were lynching and hanging. First of all, white people in America were the first terrorists. White America is the first terrorist organization on the planet. They engaged in genocide, infecting black people with diseases, and sitting back and not telling them, and just sit back watching the impact. The Tuskegee experiment, for example, infecting tens of and dozens of black men with syphilis and then watching them go out and have sex and make children. And the whole purpose was to study the long-term effects of what syphilis did to the genetic coding of a human being, and looking at how it impacted their offsprings.
Damn.
Right? That is all devilishment. When you look at how white people, for example, treated black people in this country, there's all, getting back to Willie Lynch. Sorry for this. I be doing that. Sorry.
Good.
I be going off.
With you.
I be going off. Willie Lynch said, hey, listen, we done fucked around and brought too many of these niggas over here. And these niggas multiply like roaches. So white people in the South, primarily, they quickly found themselves outnumbered 5 to 1. So for every one white person, due to an influx of slaves being brought over here, and due to our propensity to procreate, we procreate at a higher rate than Caucasians. And that's why they feel threatened right now. But to my point, Willie Lynch, the whole control, that is social engineering. We have to put into the minds of these slaves, who we're not going to be able to keep in physical enslavement much longer, because they outnumber us in our treatment of them. It is so atrocious that it's going to spark a natural rebellion in them, and they're going to overrun us. So we have to do something else, because we can't hold them in physical bondage forever. That something else is, we have to take the chains off of their physical body and put their chains on their mind. And the number one tool they use to do that is Bible and Christianity. Don't forget, we couldn't be Christians here as slaves. We couldn't even read, right? When they first decided to let us read, they decided to let us read the New Testament of the Bible, where the overall theme was the life of Jesus the Christ, and turning the other cheek, loving thy neighbor, loving thy master, loving thy enemy shit. That shit goes against the very nature of human beings, to love anybody who you know is openly and consistently trying to fucking destroy you, right? So back to my point. Willie Lynch said, hey, listen, we can't control these niggas by keeping them in physical chains. You know why? Because they outnumber us. Because we imported too many of these niggas over here, and these niggas be fucking and fucking and fucking. These niggas fucking and multiply like baby's kids, right? So that's why you had to push in the South. The whole torture and reign of terror, right? One of the precepts, or one of the things that inspired that, if you think about the Voter Registration Act, the right to vote. When they enacted the right for black people to be able to vote, right? It immediately put white politicians in the South at a disadvantage. Why? Because if black people outnumbered white people in the South 5 to 1, do you think we're going to vote for Robert Earl, who we know is a devout motherfucking racist who's a part of the Klan? No.
Right, no.
So what they did was, the reason why they tried to terrorize us with the poll taxes and everything else they tried to do in order to discourage us from voting, besides foul killing us, right? All that was done to control what happened in politics. The political system of this country has always been geared against black people, right? It's always been geared and constructed against black people, right? Against our interests, and to put us at a disadvantage so they can do what the fuck they want to do. They meaning Caucasian, meaning white Americans. So that's why I be so mad when people try to differentiate a good white person versus a bad white person. All white people were not bad during our enslavement, our physical enslavement in this country, but it didn't stop it from happening. Black people need to stop worrying about this. Black History Month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop trying to find the good in them motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. You have to assume like they assume. When you walking down the street at night and you come across a white person at light, you gonna hear them goddamn doors clicking, because they're assuming you can be a doctor. By looking at you, they're gonna assume you're a criminal. So black people, I think it's to our advantage to start assuming all white people are vampires, and they are agents of the devil, and they are agents of the fucking Illuminati. All these motherfuckers are Epstein, and they have Epstein in them. Diddy is nothing but a dark-skinned Epstein, because we're living in a society where black people want to be so much like white people that we take on and adopt the characteristics of white people. And those characteristics, by and large, are characteristics that are devilish, reptilian, and destructive. White people are aliens. They are the spawned offsprings of aliens. They are vampires. You don't believe me? I know you don't believe me, because you're looking at me like you don't believe me. Listen. Are you a religious person?
Yes.
Okay, so listen. In the grand scheme of things, in terms of the creation of this planet, right? The planet was created before human beings, right? The sun, the moon, the stars. Mm-hmm. The creator, whoever you believe in, they all know that this is not by divine origin. There was a higher force, a higher power behind the creation of everything that we know, see, feel, taste, and touch, right? Can we at least agree to that?
Oh, yeah.
So, the sun was created before human beings, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, that means that when God created all living things, you think God created a living thing and put a living thing on this planet that would be non-compatible with the different elements of the universe? Do you think he would have done that? No, it doesn't make any sense. Right. Everything that the creator, or that God, or whatever you want to call him, everything that he created on this plane of things made manifest, he created to thrive from, or to gain sustenance from, everything on this planet. From what's in the sea, what's on land, and what's in the air, right? And there are rules and regulations about what we're supposed to consume. But let's take it to a bigger level. The sun, the only thing on this planet that is negatively impacted or affected by the sun are Caucasians. And the whiter you are, the more against the nature of this world you are. How so? White people are vampires. No, it sounds kind of, because we've been spooked out by the motherfucking Count Dracula. Yeah. Sound crazy as you, right? Let's look at Dracula for a second. When did Dracula operate? When did he come out? At night, when the sun was down.
Yeah, nighttime, yeah.
Right? So listen, symbolically speaking, that's the nature of them. They operate in the shadows. They operate in darkness. They operate in deceitful patterns and in deceitful behavior. That is all dark magic. Do you get what I'm saying? So listen, when things are brought to light, the sun is fire. Fire burns off impurity. Okay? So the only living thing on this planet that is negatively affected by the sun are Caucasians. When vampires come outside, when the sun is up, what happens to their skin? They burn. When white folk go out into the world, when the sun is out, what happens to their skin?
It tanned.
They sunburn. Somebody might say, well, hey, black people have sunburn too. That's because we've been mixing and amalgamating with white people. So the lighter your skin complexion, the less melanin you have in you, and the more susceptible to sunburn you are. Vampires run from the sun because the sun destroys them, right? It burns them up. White people, the sun do what to them? Burn that ass, right? So white people, the nature of white people, right, and based on their relationship with the sun, should tell you how unnatural they are, because God created everything on this planet to gain life and sustenance from the sun. Watch this. Let's talk about the metamorphosis process, right? Let's talk about what is considered the lowest life form on the face of this earth.
The lowest life? I'm not sure.
The lowest, most filthiest thing on this planet is what?
The maggot.
A maggot. Maggots metamorphosize and they transform to flies.
Yeah.
What do they need to do that?
Sun.
They need sunlight, right? When you think about the caterpillar, caterpillars, when they metamorphosize, when they transform into butterflies, they need what? Sunlight. Maggots turn to flies. Maggots need the power of the sun in order to transform themselves into a fly. From one despicable creature to another despicable creature. We don't like flies because we know where flies come from. A fly in your mind is more disgusting than a bumblebee. We're scared of bumblebees because of what they can do to us. But we don't look at bumblebees like they filthy and nasty and disgusting. You don't see bumblebees growing out of decay. No. You see maggots